Right, yes, now people, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to a new thing that I just want to try on the channel. So let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy this concept. I'm going to do something very original, top 10s, that's something that no one's ever done before. So I'm going to do it today and it's obviously going to be Liverpool related because in case you didn't know, I'm a Liverpool fan. And I just thought with the recent talk of, one of our examples, Iago Alcantara, one of the biggest signings of the summer, and obviously life at Anfield has been rather tough and many people, fans and neutrals, are questioning whether Iago actually fits Jurgen Klopp's style of play. Now, understandably, with just 12 games, and not only just 12 games, but a few injury concerns since he's joined the club, you can't really say, or it would be, in my opinion, too soon to say Iago Alcantara is a flop. It'd be way too soon to even suggest that. However, if I just throw the thought out there, and I don't want to throw it out there, but hypothetical, this is hypothetical and I will touch wood. If Iago hypothetically left Liverpool and did not achieve anywhere near the expectations or the standards to what he did at previous clubs, then you could maybe look at it as possibly the biggest flop of all time in the club's history due to how much and how good he was from the moment we signed him. You could basically say he was the best ever player that we signed from when we did sign him. Yes, we had Suarez, Torres, these type of players, but from when we signed them, they weren't that level of baller. They turned into that type of player. So that's why I formed a list to actually think, what is the top 10 biggest flops in Liverpool's FC history? So I conducted a little bit of research, and just keep in mind the set expectations of the player is what I'm going to be looking at, and also what they did after the club. So there's many things that come into factors, and bear in mind we've had a lot of flops. This took quite a bit of research. So leave your opinions in the comments down below, and we will also have honourable mentions at the end of the video, don't you worry. But without further ado, make sure you grab your cup of tea, leave a like, and let's get into it. Number 10, Naby Keita. So I kick this off with the only Liverpool player who is on the list, 25-year-old Naby No Legs Keita. Now, for those who don't know, a deal was agreed between Liverpool and Leipzig in August 2017, but the move was not completed until July 2018 due to the fact that Leipzig set a clause stating they wanted Naby for another season, and basically this worked best for both parties, if you want to say, because for Leipzig they wanted Naby for another year, and if Liverpool actually wanted to get him for that 2017 transfer window in the summer, then they would have had to pay a significantly amount more money than what they would have if they just waited another season. So they both opted for that, and that's the way it went. Now, like Iago, his tenure at Anfield is not over. I know a lot of you in the comments will be saying that and suggesting that, and I very much do get that, trust me. But with multiple setbacks such as torn muscle bundles, groin strains, illnesses, and now currently out with an ankle problem which has left him out for 44 days, in my opinion, it might have to be discussed that he could be a flop. In fact, since joining in 2018 for 52.7 million, by the way, Naby hasn't featured in 73 games for Jurgen Klopp, 48 of these being due to injury. And although time is with Naby Keita, he is only 25. And all that may be true, but you cannot just ignore the magnitude of what this signing was supposed to be. For the manager, especially when Klopp even said Keita and Iago are the best in the Bundesliga, and Naby has now had multiple seasons to go ahead and get a run of games together, and he hasn't took any real advantages. Even the injury record, which I clearly do understand, it's not his fault in the slippery slightest. That being said, these injuries have come out of nowhere. They weren't there at Leipzig, they haven't been popping up, and people, this is the third most expensive player Liverpool have ever signed. So I just want to say that even if you agree or disagree, it might have to be in the conversation. However, we cannot dispute that this very much can be rectified in the fact that he is only 25 years of age. If he can get a clean slate with no injuries, he can just go forward and get a run of games, then you never know. We might just possibly get the Naby Keita we all hope that we can see, and we know we can get. So come on, Naby la! So number 9, Harry Kewell. So next on the list we have Australian left winger Harry Kewell, who signed for Liverpool from Leeds for €10 million in 2003. Coming so high regarded, he was given the number 7 shirt after netting 57 goals in 225 games for Leeds United. With exciting times ahead and a lot of romanticism with this move, Kewell even turned down and rejected more enticing offers from clubs like AC Milan, Arsenal, Manchester United and even Chelsea, but he opted and decided to go with his boyhood club that he supported in Liverpool. And although 10 goals in his first season gave us hope that he could maybe kick on, the 04-05 season came along and he just had such a poor start, not scoring in the first 14 games. He then went on to only get 1 Premier League goal after them first 14 games. However, he was still given the nod by Rafa Benitez to start in the Champions League final against AC Milan. And unfortunately for him, the luck would not go any easier. He would fall injured in that game and was substituted early in the first half for Herman, and it was just hard to climb back up the hill from there. Repeated injuries and even a diagnosis of sports hernia, further known as Gilmore's groin, Kewell could never well and truly reach the heights we all had hoped, really, let's be honest. He had a really high potential coming to Liverpool and he didn't quite meet that. With this not working out, he went on to join Galatasaray in 2008 after not being offered a new deal, and went on to score 34 times in 91 games for them, so at least they was there. But there was a bit of controversy around that transfer as well, with an incident that happened with the Leeds fans a couple of years ago when Leeds played Galatasaray. Well, a couple of years ago back then at this point. So yeah, it was one of them things where the Leeds fans weren't too happy about it, but he wore the same number he wore at Leeds, and you know, he still kind of kept some respect. But yeah, that transfer was disappointing in my opinion. Number 8, Iago Aspas. Now we move on to the king of corners, Iago Aspas. Aspas signed from Celta Vigo, where he spent his whole career at this point for a fee in the region of £7 to £9 million. High hopes for the then 24-year-old, as he had a bright start on his debut versus Stoke City in the 13-14 season, getting the assist for Daniel Sturridge, which actually was the assist that would win us the game. But his only goal that entire season came against Oldham in the Cup, and he will pretty much just go on to play second fiddle to players like Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling, the SSS, Coutinho. He'd just be playing second fiddle to these type of ballers. And after the season at Anfield and difficulties on and off the pitch grew, including not being able to catch the language, etc., he moved back to Spain to regain a bit of form, which actually turned out to be a very good decision, by the way. He went on loan to Sevilla first, won a Europa League, and then he went back to his boyhood club in Celta Vigo, in which he has done terrifically well in getting 98 goals in 184 games. When you think of the player he was before Liverpool and the player he was since Liverpool, you have to say that was a flop, because when you look at that goal record, we could do with that right now, but we don't. He is 33, so don't get me wrong, he's getting on, but he's still doing the bits and scoring more than our attackers, so it is what it is. But number 8 is Iago Aspas. Number 7, Fernando Morientes. A name the younger audience may not be too aware of, but Fernando Morientes got a move to Real Madrid in 1997 for €6.6 million. After the then 18-year-old centre-forward caught their eye, he went on to overtake Croatian legend Davor Suchek. I probably said that name wrong, but we move! In his first season, and then scored 12 goals in 33 games. First season, by the way. In his first full season where he was playing, he got 25 goals in 38 games, and then 18 goals in 31 games the following season. Now, although being very prolific in front of goal, in 01-02 Madrid did fall short for the league title, leaving them feeling the need to make some reinforcements. So what better reinforcements to make than just go and get a Brazilian legend called Ronaldo? You might have heard of him, by the way. After Ronaldo joining Real Madrid, basically this led to Morientes questioning the game time, and rightly friggin' so. This also led to clubs sniffing around the youngster. He was a young player at this point, 21, 22. You had clubs like Barcelona sniffing about, but they couldn't come to an agreement due to the fact the wages weren't quite at the standards. Spurs were even sniffing about for this player, but he ended up at AS Monaco in France. Now, this was only a loan spell, but you cannot deny that he had a phenomenal season, netting 22 times in 42 games with 5 assists, also making it all the way to the UCL final, but falling short to Mourinho's Porto. 3-0. So after a very successful loan spell at AS Monaco, returning back to Madrid for the 04-05 season, although he could have been useful, the Spanish side have made a very big investment into a little player you might know called Michael Owen. Obviously the young and lethal striker who signed from Liverpool gave Fernando less hope to see first team football. Furthermore, January 2005, he made his move to Liverpool for €9.3 million and he went on to score 12 goals in his next 60 games. There was just too many quiet performances, games where he just wouldn't turn up quite how he had the hunger in previous clubs and previous spells. These quiet performances then led to his transfer to Valencia in May 2006, leaving just 18 months after signing, and what a young prospect we had at the time. And also, you cannot deny it, I was too young at the time. That being said, I'm sure this would have made a bit of noise around the club and many fans would have been excited for this, but that's just how the cookie crumbles when you come to the Premier League, my friends. It is what it is. But that would have been, he looked like a baller. Number 6, bloody hell, here we go. Hajj Juve. After helping Senegal reach the quarter-finals of the 2002 World Cup, Liverpool then went and snatched Hajj Juve for £10 million. Now, this was actually not a bad decision because he was looking like an okay player, but also we brought in his fellow club teammate, but also countryman in Salif Diao, and we thought, you know what, mate, from Lens and from the country of Senegal, we'll get these two in together and we'll see what we can do. Now, after scoring 2 goals on his debut in a 3-0 win over Southampton, Reg would have to wait till March for his next goal, and Carragher even came out and said he was one of the worst number 9s in the club's history. He also went and spat at a Celtic fan, and there was also rumours that he went and spat at a West Ham fan, but they are just rumours. Well, the Celtic fan was confirmed, the rumours of the West Ham one, but all I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised. Basically, it went tits up. Juve had a scoreless 2003-04 season and received 13 yellow cards. He carried on being shit and joined Bolton for the 05-06 season. Number 5, Alberto Aqualani. Alberto Aqualani, the man who was supposed to slot in nicely with Steven Gerrard and Xabi Alonso in that midfield. Liverpool signed the then 27-year-old midfielder from Roma after 7 years at the club, and bear in mind he also went through the youth system at Roma too. Now, although having some very good seasons and moments for Roma, his last 2 years there was actually filled with injuries, injury spells and reasons that he weren't getting too much time or game time or football, and Roma basically didn't have the patience. He was to fill a void in the midfield as a massive talent back in Italy with high expectations coming with these labels. He played 26 times in his debut season, rarely playing a full 90 minutes due to the fact he was still getting those same injuries at Liverpool Football Club, although having some special games like Burnley 4-0 where he got 3 assists, or his goal against Atletico Madrid in the Europa League. It just didn't work out as he or as we all would have hoped. And the nail in the coffin was when Rafa left the club and Roy Hodgson came in, and Roy Hodgson just didn't have any time for Aqualani. He loaned him out to Juventus. He then had a few other loan spells, but then left permanently to Fiorentina, and he is now retired. Yeah, that was just a big sack of shite, weren't it? That Aqualani, mate, I'm not going to lie to you. Number 4, Lazar Markovic. Well, nearly signing for Chelsea when he was just 18 from his boyhood club in Partizan, one of the top clubs in Serbia. Markovic made a late switch to Benfica, which was reportedly supposed to be a loan deal from Chelsea Football Club, but Benfica swooped in and made the deal a permanent transfer. This deal was secured for €10 million in the 14-15 season, with 12 goal contributions in 49 games, raising awareness from the bigger clubs around Europe, and Liverpool just wanted to get one of the hotter prospects at the time and splashed 20 million on the 19-year-old Serbian. Well, seemingly with big players going out like Luis Suarez leaving and Daniel Sturridge getting injured, Lazar was most certainly rushed in a bit sooner than what he might have needed or what we even felt. He went on to play 34 times for LFC and only got 4 goal contributions. He had loan spells at Fenerbahce, Hull City, Sporting Lisbon, Anderlecht, and is currently back at his boyhood club in Partizan in the Serbian First Division, where he is now 26 years of age. So it's safe to say times have not gone well for Lazar Markovic, and for what we thought was probably going to be the next Ronaldo, you can safely say that deserves to be on this list, no doubt. Now this is where it gets a little bit spicy, my friends. Number 3, Christian Benteke. The man to take this spot is Belgian striker Christian Benteke. With 3 solid seasons under his belt at Villa, scoring 49 goals in 101 games, and also, may I add, he was a proven Premier League striker at the time, with no doubt about it. Oh, and also, may I add, he scored about 10 million goals. I caught the bottle, I never dropped it. He scored about 10 million goals against Liverpool when he was playing in claret and blue. One of these being a really important goal that got Aston Villa to an FA Cup final and knocked us out. So with all this being taken into mind, and with the fact that he snotted us, we just said, if you can't beat them, join them. So we signed him for £32 million in July 2015. The deal was completed and he scored a great volley on his debut in pre-season versus Swindon, and then this was followed with a fairly decent 1-0 win against Stoke City away from home, but he was scoreless in this game. After this, we then went on to play Manchester United in a 3-1 fixture, and he actually scored an amazing overhead kick, an amazing bicycle kick, whatever the frick you want to call it. Either way, it was the best goal he ever scored in a Liverpool shirt. It's just a shame that Man United absolutely snotted us other than that goal. We could see that we had a decent striker in our hands, but we also saw he just didn't quite suit Klopp's style. So what did we go and do? We bought him for 32 million and we sold him for 30 to Crystal Palace, where he has played 132 times, netting 26 goals, where he still remains to this day. So it's like Christian, lads, and he's even had a little resurgence this season, doing quite well. Fair play, my mate. Number 2, Mario Balotelli. Mario Balotelli, man. Jeez Louise on a drumstick. In 14-15, he joined Liverpool for £16 million from AC Milan, and this was to replace the one, the only, the almighty Luis Suarez. However, although coming with a very big name, time didn't go so well for Mario Balotelli, and he would have to wait for his first goal all the way to a Champions League group stage game against Ludogorets. As a matter of fact, he only went on to score 4 goals for Liverpool in 28 games. And there's also rumours, and I actually believe this to be true because it's actually slightly more than rumours, that he weren't even a Brendan Rodgers signing. He was just brought in simply to fill in another gap that the team clearly needed when they sold Luis Suarez. 16 million for Mario Balotelli, big name, done well for Italy at one point in his life. Let's go and get him. It didn't really feel like a Brendan Rodgers move, and most certainly had the fan base split. However, after his first season, Liverpool said, enough is enough, let's loan him back to Italy and just hope for the best. He went back to AC Milan. He had an okay time there, but where he really flourished is where we sold him to next, which was Nice the following season after that loan spell. And boy, that was where Mario Balotelli came back for one time and one time only, and it was actually quite good to see, because we never had to play him and he never scored against us or anything. Because, you know, if he scored against us, you know he would have celebrated, no two ways about it. But there is no doubt, in God's green earth of sweet Nancy Francis, Mario Balotelli does not. There's 3 guarantees in life. You're born, you die, and Mario Balotelli goes on the top 10 list for Liverpool's biggest flops in history. They're just guarantees. And number 1, the most upsetting one of them all, in my opinion, Andy Blimmin Carroll. Joined the same day that Fernando Torres left, which was another big reason to why this was a big, sad day for me, realistically. I'm not going to lie to you. Even at the time, being a young Red myself and not knowing that much about other teams other than Liverpool, I still had a fair idea, and I still knew that even though he was now, in hindsight, coming towards the end of his career, I still knew Fernando Torres was, at that time, better than any striker in world football. You know what I'm like now, so you must have believed what I was like when I was a kid. That being said, I knew seeing this big chesty guy who looks like he needs to be in the next film of Shrek, and Andy Carroll from Newcastle, was not going to be the man to replace my Fernando. And holy shit's creek, was I right, because Andy Carroll went on to make 58 appearances for Liverpool Football Club, only scoring 11 goals and 6 assists. And for the fact that we signed him for 35 million, may I add, this was a record sum at the time for the signing for Liverpool. It's very easy to say that this deserves to be the top of the list, especially, even though we ended up signing Luis Suarez, especially with the fact this was, for 1 minute or 2, a replacement for Fernando Blimming Torres. I think that deserves to be at number 1. I'm not going to lie to you people. Now here is to some honourable mentions, and bear in mind there's actually many more. I might even miss an honourable mention. There was that many flops, people. So here we go. Let's do this. Adrian, Milan Jovanovic, Bernard Diomede, Andre Veronin, Fabio Borini, Loris Karius, Alberto Moreno, Mamadou Sakho, Dejan Lovren, Stuart Downing, Paul Konchesky and Robbie Keane. People, that has been the end of, no, that has been the conclusion of the top 10 video. Notice the way the outro isn't going to be edited. Basically, let me know in the comments down below if this is the type of thing that you want to see, because if it is, then I will more than happily bring it to you. If it's not, then let me know in the comments down below. However, still click the like button and also subscribe, and thank you for watching this. I really do appreciate everyone who is in the Redmond army, and yeah, see you later, people. Have a good one.